All right, everybody, welcome. Today we're going to do a little pasture maintenance work, putting the spreader on the back of the side-by-side, broadcasting some seed on some pasture in a few places, making sure we have plenty of forages available to the cattle this summer to improve both the quality and quantity of the feed that is available to them. But anyway, as always, remind you to hit the like and subscribe button. Let's dive right in. All right, so coming to you this morning, kind of an overcast, cloudy day. We're getting ready to actually do a little, plant a little grass, more specifically some Lespedeza here at first, and we're gonna plant a Fescue Clover mix in a couple other spots. But the setup we have, as you can see here, we have this herd seeder that mounts on the back of our side-by-side, just to allow us to broadcast that Lespedeza. The reason we're doing this, I guess a variety of reasons. We actually had some Lespedeza seed left over from some ground that my brother is converting back into pasture. But get that planted. For those unfamiliar, Lespedeza is an annual legume similar to clover. I guess the major difference between it and clover is it is more of a warm season legume, whereas clover being a cool season, clover's really thriving right now. Here we are still in early spring, whereas this will do a little better in the summer months when it warms on up. But gonna pick out some spots where maybe the grass stands a little thinner, some areas that are on kind of ridge tops, a little drier, more well drained where it should do well. But kind of show you how that works, and then we're gonna spread some of that fescue and clover mix more in some areas where we've done some dozer work and have some bare ground kind of around the edges that stay a little more shaded. But anyway, just give you a little insight into ways we try to help manage the pasture. All right, you can see on this seed tag the Korean Lespedeza that we are sowing out here today. This actually came out of Georgia, Southeast Agri Seeds. Here in this part of the country where we are, kind of in the middle of row crop area, most of the seed companies and seed dealers around here don't really specialize in forages, but that group has been really nice, really good to deal with. Usually answer a lot of questions, so really enjoyed working with them. I think this is the second time we've ordered seed through them. Too, this Lespedeza seed is quite small, so we do have this thing cut down a pretty good bit so as to not put it down too fast. And we get this empty, I'll show you kind of the mechanics of how the spreader itself works. And we probably even actually have it cut down a little too low. I'm doubling back over a lot of ground, which is fine. We're really not covering that many acres today. Probably about 10 with this Lespedeza, probably half that with our fescue mix. And so if we're putting it down a little light and then I end up going over some ground twice, kind of splitting my tracks, I don't mind doing that at all. If we were trying to cover 40, 50 acres, that would just be a little too time consuming. But for no more than what we're doing today, I'd rather put it down too light and double back over some ground than run out of seed because we're putting it down too heavy to begin with. Okay, to kind of show you a couple of things about the herd spreader. So here's our switch where we cut it on. It's just wired into our battery on the side-by-side there. But turn the switch on. Very loud, but we got this part here that agitates, and then as you open the seed door, which you can see we just have a tiny opening for that Lespedeza, it really agitates that seed, makes it flow out very consistently. And of course, cut it back on here, and we can broadcast there. Use these two pieces of rope up there where the driver can pull this one, open the door, pull this one, close it back. That way you can cut off your flow when you get on your hands or when you're just ready to stop spreading without having to get up and jump back here and turn the switch off. But anyway, that's kind of the basics of how this setup works. So we ran into a minor little problem, so I was trying to adjust our openings, we were switched to that fescue and clover seed, contacted the switch there and blew the fuse. All right, so we ran into town real quick, grabbed our fuses, also grabbed a bite of lunch, and the wild man is out for a nap. Kimber enjoying her little ice cream after lunch. I think this now makes 2 videos in a row where we've caught him napping, which if you're watching this, you probably think, gosh, all that kid does is sleep, which that's a lie. He is the worst napper on the planet, but apparently if you get him in a moving vehicle, including a tractor, puts him right to sleep, which I guess he's not unlike a lot of little kids like that. But anyway, got our fuses, got our bellies full. I guess he doesn't yet, because it is easier to get him to eat than nap. We're gonna let him finish napping, then he can have his lunch. We get that fuse pop back in there and get finished spreading this seed. All right, so right there is what we needed. Kind of annoying that a 25-cent part shut us down like that. But anyway, pop it right back in there, like so. Get that hooked back up, and then we'll be rolling again. Okay, so for this fescue mix, it's actually tall fescue, fesculoleum, and white clover. And again, we'll be putting this down just in some bare spots, relatively small area, where we've done a little dozer work. But we'll kind of show you that seed. As you can see, clover really tiny in there, all that fescue and fesculoleum. We actually planted a fair amount of this last year. We had done not a bunch of dozer work, but enough where we had lots of areas of bare ground, and really, especially that clover this spring, you can really see it. It's come back, done really well. We'll get this dumped in here and move on. Get in there. Okay, just to kind of show you a little bit of what we're putting down with that fescue and clover mix. Right along this cross fence, which you can see is pretty new. We've done some dozer work here last year, just smoothing this up, and then I come back, and it was actually pretty late. I think we were well on into maybe even June before we put a lot of this down. But you can see this clover. I mean, look at that sucker. Big, nice leaf. See some of the grass coming up too, but so I hope to get some of this in some of those other bare areas where we put it down today. Something else really pretty this time of year is this crimson clover. It's on a lot of the hill ground on this farm. You can see we're probably still a week or so away from it really hitting the kind of the peak of its bloom. But I remember last spring, just this entire hillside, it's beautiful and red, crimson color there. Anyway, I always thought it's just really pretty. But anyway, it'll actually be the first year we've gotten to graze this clover, because last year we were late getting our fences done. The clover had petered out by the time we had it ready for calves. Fence row, you can kind of see the seed there on the ground. So the fescue, clover there, whatnot. I didn't show us loading it, but we actually had a little orchard grass too that we started to mix in there a little more for these shady areas. Anyway, see all those little seeds. All right, here's something we don't have much of in the pasture, thistle, but just happened to ride right by this one and we were gonna get rid of it. Thankfully, had a kitty shovel in the back of the side-by-side. Right.
What is it?
It's a thistle. Whoop. Let's tear up the shovel. Went a little too aggressive with it there.
Tell me when to push the square.
There we go.
Now can I push the square?
Yep. All right, everybody, appreciate you joining us and tuning in. That was a little different video from us. Didn't include any animal footage, but if you've watched any of my videos before, you've heard me say it several times that cattlemen in this part of the country, really, we're grass farmers primarily. The grass is our crop. we're simply using the cattle as a means to harvest it and turn it into something that's valuable and marketable. And so showing you some of the things we do to help improve on our pastures and the forages available to those animals is important to what we do. But hope you enjoyed that. Promise in the next videos to come we'll have some animals to show you. Expecting a couple more cows to calve here any day, so be on the lookout for that, as well as adding some more stocker calves. But anyway, we appreciate you watching, and as always, eat beef and God bless.